Have you guys heard about the Miraculous staircase yet? Well, today I'm going to tell you guys about the Miraculous staircase, which is located in the Loretto Chapel in Santa Fe, New Mexico. So there's 3 reasons why it's considered miraculous. The first reason is the person who built it. The second reason is the wood that was used to build it. And the third reason is the way it was constructed. Now let me explain. Apparently, Saint Joseph himself built the stairs. The wood that it was built with is a kind of spruce that can't be found anywhere near New Mexico. As a matter of fact, it can't be found anywhere in the world. The closest they found is a relative in Alaska. And the way it was constructed, it has 2 360 spirals with no center pole for support. There's no nails, no glue. It only has little wooden pegs. And that's why it's considered miraculous. Engineers to this day come to Santa Fe and study the stairs and they can't figure it out. They can't explain how it was built, the way it was built with no supports. So let me tell you the legend real quick. So the Sisters of Loretto, a group of nuns, came from the east and came to Santa Fe in 1852. And in 1853 they founded the Academy of Loretto. Loretto just means Our Lady of Light. So it was the school of Our Lady of Light. Okay, so the bishop, Jean-Baptiste Lamy, he was the bishop of Santa Fe, so he was in charge of the archdiocese of the church at the time. He brought an architect all the way from Paris, France, and this architect's name was Antoine Mauly or something like that. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. But he's the one who built the St. Francis Cathedral. At this time, the Sisters of Loretto's school was thriving. They had about 300 students, they had about 10 buildings, and it was doing good. The only thing they didn't have was a chapel. So since that French architect was still in town and he had just finished the cathedral, the sisters went to him and asked him if he'll build them a chapel, and he agreed. So in 1873, he began building the Loretto Chapel. Fun fact. The Loretto Chapel was modeled and patterned after King Louis IX's Saint Chapel in Paris, France, which this French architect Antoine Mauly had a hand in remodeling when he was in Paris. So this architect who had a hand in remodeling that church in Paris was going to build this one to look like that church. And so he did. Well, in 1878, the church was pretty much completed, all except for some stairs that they needed to get to the loft. But Antoine Mauly, the architect, died before he could build those stairs. And the reason they hadn't built stairs yet is because there was no way to build stairs in that small space without taking up all the room. So they got together with a bunch of architects and carpenters and they studied a way to make it, and they just couldn't figure out no way. Their conclusion was just to build a ladder. But the nuns didn't want a ladder, to be climbing up and down a ladder in those big ass robes that they wear. They didn't want that. So instead, they all got together and they had a 9-day prayer, a novena. I'm not Catholic, so I don't know how to pronounce it. But they had a novena to Saint Joseph, which is a 9-day prayer. They prayed to him for 9 days on how to solve this staircase problem. Then when they were done with their 9-day prayer, on the 10th day there was a knock on the door. And when they opened it, there was an old man standing out there. All he had was a mule and a toolbox with simple tools. And he was looking for work. So the nuns brought him in and they told him their situation, that they needed a way to get to the top, to the choir loft. After looking at this, he assured them that there is a way to build stairs without taking up all the room and space in the church. So he told them he would build this staircase for them on one condition, that nobody watches him work. He said he wanted to be locked in the church in privacy and nobody to watch him work until he completed it. So they gave him his privacy and he was locked in the church for a few months. Some stories say 3 months, some stories say 5 months, some stories say 8 months, so I don't know how long he was in there. He was in there for a few months though, building this staircase, and when he left, the staircase was completed. The sisters looked at it and they were impressed with it. So I guess they decided to have a banquet in honor of this man and thank him for what he did and pay him. But they looked all over and they couldn't find him. Apparently this guy disappeared. They looked for him and they never found him. So they just decided to believe it must have been Saint Joseph. So they say scientists have took a sample of this wood and it's a spruce that they can't find nowhere in this area. In fact, they say they can't even find it nowhere in the world. The only closest thing they could find close to it is a relative in Alaska. So apparently the wood is miraculous. The man is miraculous, and the way it was built is miraculous. It was built with no support, no glue, no nails, nothing but just little wooden pegs, and it makes 2 360 turns, and all its weight rests solely on the bottom, on the base, and on the top where it meets the choir loft. Like I said, engineers come and look at it and they can't figure it out. They can't. It's mystery. Anyway, that's the story of the Miraculous Staircase in Santa Fe. I hope you learned something new. This is Tragedy. Thank you for watching. I'm out.